Jake Miller had one pair of shoes. They had holes in them. He was 11 years old. He lived in a small town in Ohio. It was raining that morning. Jake stood outside a soccer field. Big boys laughed at him. His shoes were falling apart. But Jake did not cry. He looked at the field. He had a dream inside his heart. You know that feeling. The feeling when everyone doubts you. Jake felt that every single day. His mother worked 2 jobs. His father was gone. There was no money for a soccer ball, but something happened that morning. Something that changed Jake's life forever. A man in a gray jacket watched him from far away. He was writing something in a notebook. Jake did not know this man yet. He did not know this man would change everything.
What did the man write? Why was he watching a poor boy in broken shoes? Keep watching. This story will show you how nothing can become everything. Jake Miller grew up in a small gray house near the train tracks. His mother, Diane, cleaned houses all day. His father left when Jake was 6 years old. Jake had one dream. He wanted to play soccer for his school team. Every morning, Jake woke up before the sun. He ran 3 miles to school. He used a torn ball he found in the trash. The ball had no air inside. Jake did not care. He kicked it against the wall for 1 hour every day. The town was quiet and poor. Old houses stood in a straight line. Dogs barked at night. Jake could hear trains passing far away. He felt small in this big world.
But when he touched a soccer ball, everything changed. His feet moved fast. His mind became calm. At school, there was a boy named Marcus Bell. Marcus was the best player on the team. His father owned the biggest store in town. Marcus wore new shoes every season. He never looked at Jake. He thought Jake was nothing. One day, Marcus laughed at Jake in front of everyone. "You want to play soccer?" Marcus said. "Look at your shoes. You are not a player." Jake said nothing. He walked away with his head down. But inside, something burned. Jake carried a secret. He never told anyone. Every night, he looked at an old photo. It was a photo of his father playing soccer many years ago. His father was smiling in that photo. Jake wanted to make his father proud, even though his father was gone. This was his emotional anchor. This was why he never stopped. The town had one soccer field. It was old and full of mud. But every evening after his homework, Jake ran there alone. He practiced until it was too dark to see the ball. One evening, as Jake practiced alone, a car stopped near the field. A man stepped out. He wore a gray jacket. He held a notebook in his hand. The man watched Jake for a long time. He did not speak. He just watched. Jake felt his heart beat faster. Who was this man? Why was he standing there in silence, watching every move Jake made? The man walked closer. Jake stopped kicking the ball. His hands felt cold. "My name is Coach Reed," the man said. "I saw you practice. You have something special." Jake did not believe him. Nobody had ever said that to him before. "There is a tryout next month," Coach Reed said, "for the State Youth Academy. I think you should come." Jake's heart jumped, but then he remembered something painful. The academy cost money. His mother had no money for shoes, let alone a tryout fee. That night, Jake told his mother, Diane, about the tryout. Her eyes filled with tears. "I want this for you," she said quietly. "But we do not have the money, Jake." The tryout fee was $200. Jake had $11 saved in a small jar. He worked small jobs after school, but it was never enough. Days passed. The tryout date came closer and closer. Jake decided to sell the only thing he owned that mattered. It was his father's old watch. It was broken, but it was precious to him. He walked to a small shop and placed it on the counter. His hands were shaking. "Are you sure about this?" the shop owner asked. Jake looked at the watch one last time. "Yes," he said. "I have to try. You are not going to believe what happened next." The shop owner only offered him $30. It was not enough. Jake walked home in the rain, his jar of coins in his pocket, feeling like everything was falling apart. Then, something unexpected happened. Marcus Bell was standing near Jake's house. He had heard about the tryout from other boys at school. "Why do you want this so badly?" Marcus asked, almost gently. Jake looked at him, surprised. "Because it is the only thing I have," Jake said. "My father used to play. I want to make him proud, wherever he is." For a moment, Marcus said nothing. His face changed. Maybe, for the first time, he saw Jake as a real person, not just a poor boy with broken shoes. The night before the tryout, Jake still did not have the money. He sat outside his house, holding the torn ball.
feeling like his dream was ending before it even started. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. It was Marcus. He held an envelope in his hand. "I talked to my father," Marcus said. "He paid your tryout fee." Jake could not speak. His eyes filled with tears. "Why?"
Jake finally whispered. Marcus looked down at the ground. "Because a real player never stays hidden," he said. "You deserve a chance." The next morning, Jake stood at the entrance of the State Academy field. Hundreds of players filled the grass. Coaches watched from the sidelines with clipboards in their hands. Jake's legs felt weak. This was the biggest moment of his life. His name was called. Jake Miller, Field 3. Jake stepped onto the grass in his old, torn shoes. Every eye turned toward him. The whistle blew. The tryout began. Jake ran onto the field. His shoes were old, but his heart was strong. The ball came to his feet, and suddenly, all his fear disappeared. He moved fast. He passed 2 defenders. He remembered every hour he practiced alone in the dark. He remembered his father's photo. He remembered his mother's tired eyes. Every touch of the ball carried all of that pain and hope together. Coach Reed watched from the side, writing quickly in his notebook. Other coaches began to whisper to each other. Jake scored 1 goal, then another. By the end of the tryout, everyone on the field knew his name. After the tryout, Coach Reed walked over to Jake. He placed a hand on his shoulder. "You made the team," he said. "You earned this, Jake. Nobody gave it to you." Jake dropped to his knees on the grass. He could not hold back his tears. Months of pain, hunger, and doubt poured out of him at once. For the first time in his life, Jake Miller felt like he belonged somewhere. The old Jake believed he was invisible. He believed poor boys with broken shoes did not deserve big dreams. But the new Jake understood something different. He learned that struggle does not make a person weak. Struggle builds the strength that champions need later. He gained confidence, but he also learned something deeper. No one succeeds completely alone. When Jake told his mother the news, Diane covered her mouth with both hands. She did not say a word at first. She simply held her son tightly, crying softly into his shoulder. "Your father would be so proud of you," she finally whispered. Marcus came to watch Jake's first official academy match a few weeks later. When Jake scored the winning goal, Marcus stood up from the crowd and clapped louder than anyone else. The boy who once laughed at Jake's shoes was now his loudest supporter. Sometimes, the people who doubt us the most can become the ones who believe in us the deepest. That is simply how life quietly works. There is one more thing you need to know. 2 years later, Jake Miller became the captain of his regional team. Scouts from bigger academies started coming to watch him play, but Jake never forgot where he came from. Before every match, he touched his father's old watch, the one Marcus's father had secretly bought back from the shop, and returned to him as a gift. Jake still lived in the small gray house near the train tracks. He still ran past the same soccer field every morning. But now, young boys from the neighborhood watched him with the same hope Jake once felt, watching Coach Reed's notebook from far away. Jake had once believed that having nothing meant he could never become something. Now he understood the truth. Sometimes, having nothing is exactly what teaches you how to fight for everything. But one question still lived quietly in Jake's heart. Would he ever find out what happened to his father, the man in that old photograph? That question would follow him into the next chapter of his life. Jake Miller once had nothing. No shoes, no money, no father by his side. But nothing was never the end of his story. It was only the beginning. Maybe you are watching this today, and life feels hard for you too. Maybe you feel invisible, like nobody sees your effort. Jake's story reminds us that quiet struggle often grows into quiet strength. And one day, that strength becomes impossible to ignore. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more real-life stories told in slow English every single week. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt like Jake, fighting for a dream when everyone doubted you? Next time, we will tell a story about a girl who lost everything in one single night, wakes turret, state, and found something she never expected. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Take care of yourself. See you in the next story.